Hi there, Jack Peach here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 essential characteristics of any fledgling relationship. Now, there's a lot of content on red flags, the nitty-gritty of what they are, and that's really important because red flags draw attention to deeper problems. They call your attention to who this person really is. But what they really want to illuminate is these 4 traits I want to talk about today. Now that's because red flags aren't a call to immediately disqualify women. No, that's the path to avoidance. That's the path to a lifelong loneliness. Instead, they want to make you realize, who is she? Is she someone who's going to cheat on me, for example? Because that's going to cause me a lot of pain. And that's what we want to identify with red flags. Not, she did X, therefore I'm going to leave her. So, without further ado, I'm going to explain to you what are the 4 characteristics of a fledgling relationship that you must look out for. So, what is the first thing that you have to look for in a fledgling relationship? Well, this is quite simple and very obvious, but it is attractiveness. That is, are you sexually attracted to her? Why is that important? Well, it's not some shallow desire to want to be attracted to a woman. Sex is a very, very important component of any relationship. And if you're not attracted to her, sex is going to be a bit of an issue, because we've got to remember, when we're looking for a relationship, what we're ideally looking for is a soulmate. Now, maybe there's some mischaracterizations of what soulmates are, and maybe in another video I'll explain that. But in essence, a soulmate is someone that we're going to spend our life with. Now, the mate in soulmate is not a British, "You all right, mate, how you doing?" No, it's a 2 gorillas going at it mating. So if you're not sexually attracted to her, that's going to be a little bit difficult. Not only that, relationships are a commitment to sexual exclusivity. And if you're not going to enjoy sex, staying exclusive, it's going to be hard. And what's more, we've got to remember that women actually want to be sexually desired by their man. They get a lot of value out of it. They get a lot of validation out of their man wanting to have sex with them. So if you're not attracted to her, you're going to make her live through this inadequacy daily. And it's over time really going to cause a strain on your relationship. And even you're going to feel resentful of the relationship in the end and not want to be with it. So it doesn't matter how much you like a woman, you must be attracted to her. It's the number one thing that you should look out for. But there are other issues that are not quite as obvious as this. So let's look at those too. The next thing I'd like to talk about, and the second essential characteristic that you must look out for in any fledgling relationship, is a little bit trickier. It's not quite as clear-cut as, would I? And that is cognitive dissonance. Now, what is cognitive dissonance and why is it important? Well, cognitive dissonance is basically a misalignment between words and actions, or values and actions. And that means that if she is not aligned in what she's saying and what she's doing, there's something else happening there. And often it's the case that she's simply telling you what you want to hear. Now, this is a very common tactic of women in their own form of game, girl game, which is they are very good, a lot of women are very good at understanding what men want from them, using their sexuality, for example, as a way to kind of tease men and get what they want out of them. And obviously telling men what they want to hear is another form of that. For example, I want to explain this through what one of my clients recently went through. Now, he began dating this woman. They're both Christian, they're both single parents. He's in his mid-40s, she was in her early 30s. And at the beginning of the relationship, she was very clear about the fact that she wanted to wait until they were in a serious relationship to have sex. So far, so good. Good boundaries. She understands that she has sexual worth, and she told him pretty directly early on, which is a good thing. But she had some very poor boundaries in other areas. She began to introduce him to her son. She introduced him to her family, even though they weren't yet in a serious relationship. So in one sense, she was acting like they were in a relationship, but when it came to sex, she was acting like they weren't in a relationship. What's more, she was dangling sex as a carrot for my client. She was saying, for me, having sex is really important. And if we're in a relationship, I want to have sex every day. Believe me, I don't know a man alive who doesn't want to hear that from his partner. And of course, my client was no different. But again, when it came down to it, even though they'd been dating for a while, she wouldn't even kiss him. And he realized eventually, with a little bit of probing from me, there was a misalignment between what she was saying and what she was doing. And this pointed to deeper issues within her, as well as another issue, which is the third thing that you must look out for in any fledgling relationship. So what is that? So we've talked about attractiveness as the first trait you must look out for. We just talked about cognitive dissonance. And as I mentioned, cognitive dissonance points to a deeper issue. So what is that deeper issue as well, that even deeper issue? It's the issue of trust. You have to be able to trust her. Now, why is trust so important? Well, it's pretty simple really. It's the foundation of any relationship. If you can't trust someone, you cannot begin to love them. You cannot go into the deeper elements of what a true relationship should look like. And, you know, for example, if she goes out with her friends and you can't trust her, there's going to be the potential she's going to cheat and you're going to feel uncomfortable. If you have an argument and you can't trust her, she's probably going to start seeking attention from other men, which is not something we want. If she's on her phone chatting to someone and she doesn't want to let you know and you can't trust her, you're going to begin to become insecure because you don't trust her. Now, there is another issue there of insecurity. Sometimes it's uncalled for. We do have to be not getting paranoid and insecure about things. But if you can't trust her, all these issues are going to build. It's really, really foundational. And nearly all of the nitty-gritty red flags are actually calling attention to this deeper issue, including cognitive dissonance, as I mentioned. So you always want to figure out, can I trust this person? We need to find that out early, and her values are going to be really important in determining that as well. So what is the fourth and final piece of the essential components of a fledgling relationship? Well, this one is really important because it doesn't matter if you're attracted to her. Doesn't matter if she's not cognitive dissonant. Doesn't matter if you can trust her if she's not willing to put any effort in. Effort is really, really important. It takes two people to make a relationship work, and effort is what makes it work. There is a sort of side topic here that some guys actually get more attracted to women who don't put any effort in, but that's normally an issue with themselves and it requires some deeper figuring out, some deeper kind of work on fixing, because there's something going on in your psyche there where if someone ignores you, it makes you want to get their attention more, which is probably a dynamic from childhood. But that's another topic for another time. Really, what we're looking for is someone that wants to put some effort in. If when you make arrangements for a date, even if they can't make it, do they give you, a return time, and do they give you back another time that can make it work? If there's an issue coming up in the relationship or there's something they need to discuss, are they someone who's going to talk to you about it and actually give you that information you need, or are they just not going to bother to talk about it? If there's a real problem, maybe a logistical problem, are they willing to make compromises to make the relationship work? This often happens with girls of a certain age, around university education age. They're not willing to make any compromises on their education for a relationship, and that should be enough to tell you that this isn't going to work long term, unfortunately. If they're not willing to, maybe fly down every weekend, make some rules to make the relationship work. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have to go to university, doesn't have to go to college, for example, but she needs to do something to make this work. Sometimes it can be a compromise, like going to a university or a college closer by. It doesn't matter. It's about the effort that's important. That's what we need to find out. Not exactly how she does it, but whether she's willing to do something to make it work. And one of my clients was going through this as well. He'd been working with me for about 4 months. He'd got a lot better at dating. He was meeting more women, doing well on the dates, but nothing kind of went smoothly. Didn't manage to get into something good. Then suddenly he met a woman who also fit in these 3 traits that we were talking about. And she wanted to make it work. She was willing to make time for them to talk. She was willing to go on dates. And when they couldn't work things out because of logistical issues, there was always a solution. They found it together because she wanted to put that effort in. And as a result, they are really quickly entering into a very serious relationship because she wants to make it work. And it makes it easier for you. It's giving that investment into you and makes you want to keep pushing forward with the relationship too. So you really need to find that out. Everything gets better. Everything is easier when she's putting in some effort too. So in conclusion, these are the 4 traits that we want to be looking for in any fledgling relationship. 1, is she attractive? Do I want to have sex with her? 2, is she cognitively dissonant? Do her values and her actions align? 3, can I trust her? And 4, is she willing to put any effort in to make this work? And if you can meet a woman who ticks all 4 of those boxes, getting into a relationship is going to be way easier. It's going to be very difficult if you meet a woman who doesn't tick any of these boxes. Now, to do that, you're still going to have to meet women. You're probably going to have to meet more women, because the more women you meet, the more likely you are to meet one who ticks these 4 boxes. So one of the best ways to do that is by approaching, and I've got a free guide to approaching women that I'm going to link in the description box below. You can download that free, and you'll also gain 2.5 hours of free video coaching from me as well, should you decide to download that. So it's of course free. It's going to be in the description box below, and I just want to wish you all the best, and I hope that you can find the relationship that you want to be in soon. Till next time, Jack out.